In a moment that sent shockwaves across the Atlantic and left studio audiences in stunned laughter, Hollywood megastar Michael B. Jordan delivered what can only be described as a career-ending humiliation to Prince Harry. Live and unfiltered on the Graham Norton Show. What started as a playful banter took a sharp, unscripted turn when Jordan, addressing a segment about privilege and public image, fired off a ruthless dig aimed squarely at the runaway royal. "Man, I worked my way up from Newark, didn't quit my family. And didn't blame the world when life got complicated." The room froze for half a second before erupting in disbelief. Cameras caught even Norton himself raising an eyebrow as the audience burst into awkward laughter. For Prince Harry, watching from his California mansion or perhaps briefed shortly after, the message was humiliatingly clear. His carefully manicured victim narrative has officially worn thin, even among the elite circles of celebrity. Jordan didn't need to name him outright. Everyone watching knew exactly who he was referencing. And that unsparing critique, broadcast live to millions, marked a catastrophic shift in how Harry is now viewed, not as a brave escapee from royal oppression, but as a petulant figure clinging to a story no longer believable. This moment wasn't just a jab, it was a signal. Prince Harry, once lionized by Hollywood as a misunderstood rebel prince breaking free from the monarchy's archaic grip, has now become the butt of the joke. His repeated media appearances, Netflix documentary, explosive memoir spare, and countless interviews painting himself as a victim have exhausted public sympathy. Celebrities once eager to align themselves with his narrative are beginning to distance themselves, and Michael B. Jordan's swipe on live television was the most damning indictment yet. Jordan, an actor known for his relentless work ethic, grounded humility, and refusal to play the victim card, represents everything Harry has failed to become since leaving royal life. His rise from modest beginnings to becoming one of Hollywood's most respected leading men has been earned, not inherited. So when he took aim at Harry's seemingly endless grievances, it came from a place of earned credibility. The studio audience knew it. The viewers at home knew it. And Harry, watching the backlash unfold, certainly knew it. Since stepping down from royal duties in 2020, Harry has made a name for himself not as a philanthropist, innovator, or even a meaningful public figure, but as a professional complainer. From Oprah to Anderson Cooper, from the Me You Can't See to Spare, the prince has been on a global grievance tour, lamenting everything from his family's formality to his frostbitten todger. Yet even his most sympathetic supporters are beginning to admit the shtick is tired. There's only so many times you can cry foul before the world stops listening. And it appears that point has now arrived. Michael B. Jordan's takedown wasn't just humorous, it was reflective of a growing public sentiment that Harry is no longer relatable. He's no longer that young boy who walked behind his mother's coffin. He's now a wealthy man in Montecito who complains about his private jet carbon footprint while still flying private. There was a time when Harry's candidness about mental health and his discomfort with royal protocol felt fresh. He seemed like a breath of authenticity in an institution built on facade. But that potential has long since curdled into entitlement. His attempts to rebrand himself in the US have floundered, and worse, they've turned him into a parody of himself. Michael B. Jordan's jab wasn't out of the blue, it was the product of a cultural shift. The once sympathetic lens through which Harry was viewed has now been replaced by something colder, ridicule. He's no longer seen as brave. He's seen as opportunistic. No one doubts the challenges he faced within the royal system. But the endless monetization of his pain through tell-alls, docuseries, podcasts, and book deals has made even his most painful truths seem performative. And Hollywood, famously allergic to being associated with losers, is taking notice. It's no secret that Harry and Meghan's Hollywood careers have sputtered. Their Spotify deal was abruptly canceled in 2023, with executives leaking damning statements about the couple's lack of substance and follow-through. The Netflix docuseries, while initially grabbing attention, was criticized for being nothing more than a glossy rehash of old headlines. Their Archwell Foundation remains more of a PR tool than a force of real social change, with minimal accomplishments despite ample funding. Meanwhile, Harry's memoir Spare, though commercially successful, left critics unimpressed and readers baffled. Between anecdotes of sibling scuffles and confessions about losing his virginity in a field behind a pub, the book veered between the cringeworthy and the self-indulgent. What was marketed as a tale of healing turned into a laundry list of complaints against his father, his brother, the press, and even the weather at Eton. It's no wonder that someone like Michael B. Jordan, who has built his career on action, not angst, would take issue with Harry's exhausting narrative. And his comment on the Graham Norton Show resonated because it was grounded in something real, frustration at someone who seems to expect applause for surviving privilege. Prince Harry has often attempted to disguise privilege as suffering. While he speaks passionately about trauma and the damage of institutional coldness, he does so from the comfort of a $14 million California estate with Netflix producers and ghostwriters helping him shape his every word. That's not authenticity. That's image curation. Michael B. Jordan, on the other hand, earned his place. He clawed his way to the top. There were no royal connections. No palaces. No media obsession with his every move. When he critiques Harry, he does so with the weight of lived experience. And perhaps most importantly, with zero need for approval. That's why his remarks cut so deep. Harry has built his post-royal career on one fundamental premise, that he is a victim. Of the institution. Of the press. Of his family. But there is an expiry date on martyrdom, especially when it becomes monetized. Harry's repeated retreats into the role of misunderstood outcast have become less compelling and more commercially suspect. His is a brand steeped in grievance, not growth. And now, thanks to Michael B. Jordan's viral moment, that brand has taken a serious hit. Harry's defenders may cry foul. They'll argue that he's been brave for speaking his truth. But courage involves risk. And Harry's risks have all come with seven-figure payouts and corporate backing. That's not bravery. That's strategy. Michael B. Jordan's offhand burn was more than a one-liner. It was a cultural exclamation mark punctuating what many already felt but were too polite to say. Prince Harry is no longer the rogue prince challenging tradition. He's a privileged man unable to let go of a narrative that no longer fits. His media strategy has become a repetitive loop of blame and branding, and the world is finally catching on. This wasn't just a TV moment. It was a reckoning. And no palace wall, Netflix contract, or PR agency can shield him from it. Because in the world of Hollywood, just like royalty, grace is